So I'll start recording and I can just like snip it wherever we want to, and we can just like start whenever. So
Sounds good.
easy. So episode number one of the yeah, cool. So episode number one, Pinche Pedro podcast. Zeb Walsh, thanks for making it, mate.
Thanks for having me, mate.
Yeah, no worries. Cheers.
Back in the old street. It's good.
Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while.
I
How long
know.
have you been?
Yeah, no, I've been good. Just obviously weird times.
Yeah.
All over the world. So
Yeah.
it's
Have you been traveling a bit?
Nah, well, not since the whole COVID thing. So we've just been
Yeah.
I had a few months, or a couple of weeks, I guess, at home. Nearly 2 months off work while it was all shut down, and
Yeah.
just
It's
hanging
pretty
with
nutty.
kids.
Like it's just the whole world's just gone to a stop. Like it doesn't. I wonder when it's like even like Queensland, I can't even get up to family and go and visit them. Like everything's shut down. Like borders.
I think the
are
border
closed.
opens tonight at midnight, I heard, or last night at midnight.
In Queensland.
Yeah.
Oh,
Queensland, New South border
really?
open, apparently. But then I think we're in lockdown. Victoria's like the tainted state now.
Yeah.
with numbers rising.
I'm thinking of making a drive. Once the border opens, actually, I'm thinking of making a drive up there. So
Yeah.
we'll see. But yeah.
Yeah, so I guess it's been a weird time with all that.
Yeah.
But I, to be honest, I was in a pretty fortunate spot with
Yeah.
Patagonia. Looked after all of us, so it was no
really?
stress, and I kind of got to enjoy the 7 weeks at home with the kids and
Oh, that's awesome.
Mel, and just
Yeah.
we surfed every day, and
Oh, have you?
I just went to the beach every day and
Yeah.
did something.
Do you have a favourite surf spot?
There's so many. It's kind of hard. Like Bird Rock at home is like definitely my favourite.
Bird Rock?
Yeah, Bird Rock's definitely.
Where's that? That's like close to Bells? Or?
Nah, up the end of Jan Jark
Yeah.
Beach, sort of, just the west end of the beach, where the big rocks sits out in the water.
Oh, yeah?
Just that reef there is. It's not a super long wave, but it's, I don't know, it's definitely my favourite wave. on
Oh,
the
right,
coast.
okay.
Bit of a pecking order out there, but I've kind of been fortunate enough to been sent in a lot when I was a kid, so kind of worked my way up, and now I can kind
Oh,
of.
is it a bit rough there? Like if you
Oh,
if
not
you land
rough,
someone's
just-
wave, like they get a bit knocky, or
It's just a really tight takeoff. So if you're not if you don't have a spot in the pecking order, and as a kid, like you'd paddle out, and
Yeah.
they'd just be telling you to paddle to Sparrows or Little Rock. Like, you didn't even get
really?
out there. They'd just be like, beat it, Cromit. And off you go. But yeah, now it's definitely like everywhere's
yeah,
sort of
yeah,
not as gnarly as it used to be.
Yeah,
Like, no
yeah,
one's too brutal on any of the kids anymore. Like,
Yeah.
the
Talk-
abuse we used to get was pretty.
yeah. Hey, talking about surfing, like before we get into some of your gnarly adventures, have you seen that shark attack close to Bells Beach?
Oh, yeah.
Have you?
Hardly attack.
What do you think of that? Like,
It was a 7 gill. Just
yeah,
they're inquisitive. They just come up and
Is
it
Have you-
bit him on the leg, but like they normally will just push boards around. I think it happened yesterday or the day before again at Bells.
again?
There was
At
one
Bells
just,
again?
yeah. So that
Oh.
the attack was at South, just around the corner from Bells. So
I'll bring it up. Like, show you
Yeah.
what it.
they're not.
He was screaming a fair bit.
Bit of a nip on the leg. And,
Was he actually bitten?
yeah, it was pretty minor. A couple, maybe 4 stitches or something.
Yeah. The thing I found interesting is like
His mate's laughing.
his mate's laughing. That's what I thought. And like, anyway, I thought it was pretty interesting. But I didn't know it happened again. Like, so it wasn't like obviously not a great white or anything.
This time of year, there's always a few, I guess, encounters where, and predominantly is the 7 gills, and they'll come up. They're just an inquisitive shark, and they'll push people on boards and they'll nudge stuff, and obviously naturally sharks don't have hands, so the only
Yeah.
way they can really see what something is
They just, like, nudge you.
they'll give it a little bite or.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, old mate's leg was just probably in the wrong
Oh,
spot.
shame.
He got.
Yeah. At least
But
with
it
them-
wasn't. I saw the photos of the cuts, and it was
Nah, not bad.
good story for the pub. But
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
But
like,
yeah,
not
like-
every day you can say you've been like attacked by a shark.
Nah. I got a mate that's got crocodiles, and I was trying to get him to let me have one of the little ones bite me so I could say I got bitten by a crocodile, but he wasn't too keen on that.
Yeah. Cool. Let's get in some of it. So for people that don't actually know you, you've done some pretty crazy paddling. So you're a world champion paddleboarder. You've tell me if I'm getting this wrong, but not only have you done Bass Strait, you've paddled all the way from mainland Australia to Tasmania.
Yeah.
You've done Torres Strait, so that's like from New Guinea to Australia.
Cape York.
Cape York. And you've done Molokai to Oahu? How do you pronounce that?
Oahu.
Oahu.
Yeah.
Whatever, that would.
Yeah.
Wow,
Probably the main island most crew fly into if you go to Hawaii.
Is it?
Oahu's,
Oahu?
It's kind of, I don't know if it's a capital, but it's, it's sort of the main one.
Wow, so that's pretty nutty. So you've done some pretty crazy paddles. So what's the biggest one? Like your first one was the Bass Strait one. Is that your first one where you sort of went, I'm gonna
not really. So I'd been racing Molokai across the Kiwi Channel, which is from Molokai to Oahu.
Oh, you've done that before. You actually did that before you did the Bass.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I raced that for a couple of years before we kind of, and it was through that I ended up like Jack Bark, who paddled it with me. Jack and Gawley. Gawley was a mate of mine that I'd raced in surf lifesaving with forever, and and then Jack was like my main rival in the stock division for Molokai and Catalina and stuff. So I'd been racing Molokai for probably 3 years before we did Bass Strait, and
oh really? Okay.
Like first year was kind of a fair learning curve for me. I think I got fourth, and I had a pretty terrible board, and but like learn a lot. Like I kind of went over there probably. I don't think I was too cocky, but I just just the aim was to win.
Yeah.
And Eric Abbott, one of the Hawaiian boys, he gave me a good toweling up that day.
Really?
Plus others, I was fourth. So, but I learned a lot that year, and but it really lit the fire. Like it's such an amazing race.
Yeah.
It's
So when you say you learned a lot, like you say you did you not use the right board? Did you sort of have a
I'd sort of had a stretched out version of like a clubby Mal that you race here in Australia, which is like our sprint boards are like a 10-6 with flat bottom and stuff like that. And if you're racing for 4 minutes or 5 minutes, they're really good and they're good in surf. But over 5 or 6 hours, it's that flat bottom just doesn't work for you. And
oh really?
And two, it was just a learning curve of like you
why is that the flat bottom? So someone that's not familiar with paddling, because like I know nothing about paddling.
Yeah.
Honestly. Like why is the flat bottom not work? Is it too much drag, or you sort of does it
no,
swing
not
you
drag.
around
Like
too much?
the flat bottom, like as far as I'm concerned, like it works better when you're up on a plane. So if you're racing shorter races, like you can hold that higher pace for longer. Over 6 hours, you're not going to be able to go full bore for 6 hours.
Yeah, okay,
so the rounder bottom in a sprint would probably not be as fast, but over the distance, it gets pulled along by the bumps. So in Hawaii, like that race in particular, the Molokais, we'd race the end of July, so you're getting the trade winds and you get like what we call bumps or runners. So they're little wind chops, and you can actually surf them.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, so you're always looking for that little hole to drop down, and essentially the guy that can surf the bumps the best is normally the guy that wins. So it's a tricky race. It's like you can be the fastest guy in you can be the fastest paddler in the group
and not necessarily win it.
And not necessarily. It's like there's a lot of other factors, tides, like the ocean doesn't want to let you win. So it's not going to let you win. So it's like for me there was a big learning, and the second year I used another board that I thought was better than the one I had before, but it was still like that year me and Jack Bark, who ends up doing Bass Strait with us, me and Jack raced like pretty much the whole race. Normally you paddle out, it's 53 Ks, so across open ocean. So like most mornings you can't see.
Oh, is that
Oahu.
how far it is? Like you're
Yeah.
actually paddling 53 k's open
Yeah.
far. So when you paddle that far across the ocean, can you actually see the island you're paddling to, or you just sort of paddling blind?
If it's clear, you can, but most years, to be honest, we couldn't see the island till a couple of hours in. So you're just purely going off your boat, your escort boat, holding you on a good line.
Okay.
And that I've had mixed success thanks to that, but it's it's one of those things. It's so like I had my one boat guy for 3 or 4 years, Mark, and like I 100% trust in everything he'd tell me to do. He was from Molokai originally. He knew, like, done a lot of kite, outrigger race, like paddling. He was the coach at the Outrigger Canoe Club.
So does the race have a support boat? Or
every paddler has to have a support boat.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so you don't, like, it's a bit different out here. Like, for these races, they kind of try and have, like, group support, I guess. But then they make you wear a leg rope and a life, and it's just...
Where, in Australia?
Yeah, in Australia. It's stupid. And where over there, it's like you're in boardies and a singlet.
Yeah. I hate wearing like life jackets and stuff. It's just...
for paddleboards in particular, though, it's like they're almost impossible to wear. Like they move around. Like we're constantly going from our knees to our stomach and back up again. So and you're already getting rashed and like beat up by everything. Like just to add that in there, it's so that's to be honest, don't do a lot of the races in Australia if they're gonna hold that position and make us wear a life jacket. I'm like,
do we even have long races like that in Australia, or are they more like sprinting type races? Or
definitely more sprint stuff, but it is definitely, it's growing. Like a lot of, like when you go to Molokai, like a lot of the top finishes are all Australian. Like the year I won Molokai, like my mate Gawley won the unlimited, Geordie Mercer won the unlimited women's, Travis Grant won the SUP, Treen Black won the SUP. Like Aussies dominated. We nearly won every kind of category.
Really?
Yeah. So
that's surprising, because I would have thought for sure our Wayans or the people from Molokai would sort of dominate and knowing the water as well. But
it's one of the don't get me, like the Hawaiians are amazing, and like I look up to the guy like Eric. Like, gee, he schooled us that first year I did it, and I didn't even know who Eric was. I was like, Mikey Cote, one of Eric's good friends and neighbour actually at the time. He had won it like for 2 years straight, and then Eric won for like 2 years straight. And then,
really? Okay.
And then me and Jack started battling, and so like we normally, like, you don't see anyone the whole time. Like my first year, I didn't see anyone out. I was just solo out in the channel. And
jeez, really?
Yeah, and then
this heightening.
And it is, and it's like not a bad thing because you can get in your own rhythm and you're not trying to race someone beside you. But then when Jack had done teams, I think my first year, and then he stepped up and he was like 17, or I think he was 17.
Really?
And he's like the skinniest kid in the world. And I was like, I've got him covered easy.
Yeah.
And we battled the whole way, like side by side. And we literally, I think he beat me by about 40 or 50 seconds.
Yeah, really? Okay.
In the end.
And that's not much if he takes like 50
over like
kilometers. Like
5.5 hours, I think.
Wow.
So that it hadn't really, I don't think there'd be many closer finishes than that before. Because normally you get out and you get a gap. And like 7 minutes or something like that would be a close race. So it's like, but we were like, I watched Jack cross the line. I was just like, kidding me? Like his kid's arms are like skinnier than my forearms. Like, but it was really good. Like after that, like me and Jack became really good friends, and like he's like family now. He's Marlo's godfather. So
oh really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
is he a Torquay guy?
No, he's California.
California.
Yeah, from Rancho Palos Verdes. So, but Jack's dad, Joe Bark, is like in the paddle world. Like he's like probably the best board maker in the world.
Oh really?
Yeah. So, and so it was funny because so Jack had won and I was second, and then the following year I was just like, well, Eric had said to me, he's like, you need to get on a bark, dude. Like, you're tripping. Yeah, he's like, you would have won, and I was like, oh, yeah.
That's so frustrating. How many times have you done Molokai? Have you done it quite a lot?
I don't know. It was 5 or 6 times I think I did it.
Okay. Do you get sponsorship when you do that sort of races, or
I've always been pretty lucky. Like Patagonia always supported me through all these things. So that otherwise it's quite expensive, and you don't make any money out of being a paddleboarder.
No.
Jamie Mitchell's about the only guy that ever made money out of it. So, but yeah, I was really lucky. Like I had Patagonia support, and then Surf Tech. I sort of went to Surf Tech because...
Is that your board, Surf Tech?
Yeah, Surf Tech's a board manufacturer, and so they did boards with Joe. So my in was like, I was like, I'll paddle for Surf Tech, but I want to get a bark for Molokai.
Yeah.
So I think Jack actually shaped my board for the next year.
Really?
And that was I beat Jack that year. Same thing again, we're just back and forward the whole way, and I was lucky. My line, he dropped a bit south, so I just held my line, and he had to come back up. So thank God, that just gave me a little...
All right. What's the best position you ever got in Molokai?
Well, it's that year I won 2013.
You won it that way? Yeah. Wow. Okay. So your first time you came fourth? Is that
fourth, second, first, third, fourth? I think.
Gee, that's all right.
But the other years are like 2014. So I won 2013.
Yeah.
And Jack was second, and then we did Bass Strait. So I did.
When's that? Bass Strait was
2014. So what happened was I did one Molokai, and then it's like you get $1,000 for winning the stock division. Like it's not a lot of money
insane,
in it.
Eh?
So
they wouldn't even cover your flight tickets.
Nah. So I rolled that money kind of straight into. I entered the Catalina Classic, which is probably the longest running paddle race in the world. Like from Manhattan, Catalina. So it's from Catalina Island.
Okay.
Out off California to Manhattan Beach. It's 53 Ks.
Yeah.
In the flat. So it's kind of the big things everyone wants to get, like the single double they call it, which is winning Catalina and Molokai in the same year, because it's like Molokai's a really technical downwind kind of race.
Yeah.
Where Catalina's a real grind. So
because you have currents working against you,
and just generally like the wind's never like you don't get runners, and it's normally from there's a buoy out off Redondo that's called the R10, and normally when you get to there it's like a headwind for the last 16 Ks or whatever it is, or 10 Ks or whatever it is from there.
Oh really? Okay.
So I was
don't you have a heaps of sharks down there in California, or is it not
there's a lot of big Noahs there, but I don't know, they don't seem to. They're pretty they reckon the juvenile ones like under 12 foot or under 10 foot. They only eat fish, so they don't. Yeah, Jack's got he goes and swims. He's a nutcase. So
what are you guys swimming?
Yeah, he's got some photos that are just stupid.
Really?
Yeah. Like 10 foot. Like the crazy thing is like then like 10 foot's big, but like when you see photos, they're so round, those sharks. Like there's so much. Like they're not like the longest thing. Like I've swum with like 12-foot tigers and stuff like that. And that's Molokai. You get followed by tiger sharks, but they're just curious. They come up and have a look. But the Noahs are just so round. So it's kind of crazy. But so I went over after the winning Molokai, and I went over to Catalina, and ended up winning that one. So what have we're having a malfunction.
Yeah. Did you turn that dial on your camera? Thanks. All good.
Oh, there we go. We're back on.
We're back on. Just took a quick break.
So
intense.
After winning Catalina, winning Molokai, I was like, I want to get the single double. Yeah. And I thought a heap of crew had done it. I didn't realise that I got over there, and then like the day before the race, someone was like, there's only 4 guys have ever won the same 2 in the 1 year. And I was like, fuck, I thought I had better odds than that. Oh. And but I was lucky. I ended up winning that.
Oh, you won
by
it?
like 10 minutes.
You actually got it?
Yeah. So
okay.
So I was the 5th guy to get the single double
Far out, man.
in Molokai and Catalina in the same year.
What sort of training? Like, I'm always curious about the planning that goes into something like that. Like, do you have a strict planning regimen and nutrition dietary plan that you need to follow for something, or are you sort of you just like train as hard as you can and hope for the best?
I'd like to think I was smart about it, but I was never too. Honestly, like early on, I kind of figured out like I'd eat well, but I was never too gnarly on the food because I always found it hard to find the same good food in America.
Oh, really? Okay.
And like Hawaii and stuff. So I didn't want to be on some crazy diet here that then I couldn't replicate over there.
Yeah.
So I just tried to eat just a good balanced diet. Really.
Yeah. Okay.
And the hard thing for me was probably just learning to eat properly, like through the day, like.
Yeah. Do you mind telling us like how you eat? Like, do you wake up, have breakfast, have a
I'd normally do my first session in the morning without eating. So be it swimming or paddling, whatever it was.
Yeah, really? Okay.
Yeah, I'd go and I'd normally do that. I'd maybe make I don't even think I'd make a coffee back then. I'd just get up.
Really? And just go
to swimming or so normally like my week, I say like training wise, being a paddleboarder, like there's not really money in it, so you're still working full time.
Yeah.
And I had 2 kids at this point, so
tough.
it was like, so I'd normally get up at 5:30 or 5 or whatever it was, and I'd on Mondays I'd paddle in the morning.
Yeah.
And then generally run in the arvo.
Yeah. Okay.
And then
what sort of paddle would you do? Like how
so
far
I'd
would you
paddle
go?
like 10Ks.
10Ks,
in the morning. So it was only an hour and a bit, maybe, depending on conditions.
Yeah.
That's the thing with paddling. Like you can never really go off a set time or anything because if the tide's working against you or the wind or whatever, it really changes things up. So it's like you can't sit on a certain Ks.
Well, especially with our conditions that we get down here, like it's pretty unpredictable.
Yeah,
like it's gets on crazy winds. Like winds
so
and tides,
so I'd generally paddle Monday, Wednesday. I'd do like an hour to an hour and a half paddle in the morning.
Yeah, okay.
And then I would do, and they would change. Like they would be might be intervals. So like 2 minutes on, 1 minute off, 2 minutes off. Like
okay.
Pyramid sort of things. Down to like minute on, minute off, or minute on, 30 seconds off.
Yeah.
And then one would normally be kind of a tempo where I'd either do some little intervals but not too strenuous, up and then hard back. And then on Fridays, so that was Monday, Wednesday morning. Friday morning I'd normally just do a little paddle, just an easy, just turn the arms over, or even surf if there was waves.
Yeah.
And then like Saturday would be my big paddle.
Yeah, okay.
And that'd start from early on in, like, say, if I started the 1st of Feb sort of thing, like that paddle might only be an hour and a half.
Yeah, okay.
And so then I like just slowly built up to then, like, before Molokai, I might be doing 4.5 hours on a Saturday.
Yeah, okay.
Or paddling from Lawn back to Torquay or something like that.
Yeah, wow. Okay.
And so then on the other days, like Tuesday, Thursday, I'd normally swim Tuesday morning. I'd normally swim 5Ks a session in the pool.
Yeah, okay, that's pretty decent.
And then
did you go down to the Club Armstrong?
No, I was swimming at leisure. Like, this wasn't even here. This is still an airport. But
true.
Yeah, I'd just swim at Leisure Link because those mornings the pool was 50 as well. So the other mornings it's 25. So
yeah, okay.
I hated swimming at 25. It just felt like you're doing tumble turns every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But so I'd swim those mornings, and then normally Tuesday and Thursday night I'd train with my trainer Lisa Robinson in Torquay, and we'd be doing mainly core and leg work because everything else was upper body. So it was And the first few years I didn't train with Lisa, and I was like, not bad, like just my back I'd get stiff and sore and everything like that. And then once I started training with Lisa, which was actually the second year,
So is this what Lisa specialised in? She actually trains paddle boarders?
No, she's yoga and Czech trainer, and
Yeah.
Just personal trainer and I'm all right.
There you go, yours.
And so why not actually?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've been up one.
So I'd train with her and she'd do all my core and thanks, bro.
No worries.
She'd do all my core work and leg stuff and just so circuits and it'd change up every day and that was like a massive help for me because I didn't have I was coaching myself for the board and the swim sessions and stuff like that.
Cheers.
Cheers, man.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks, man.
And so that was a massive help and like her son Cody trained with me every session. He's an amazing surfer, so it was cool. Like we had a pretty fun squad because he was a lot younger than me, but we'd be pushing each other and it was really good. Now he's a full grown man, so it's funny.
Is he still keeping it up though?
To be honest, I've been so busy lately. I haven't really. I catch up with Lisa every now and then, but I haven't really seen. I see Cody around surfing and stuff like that. But, so that was that. And then like Fridays, like I said, I'd either paddle or even if I could do another swim that morning. And then, so it's probably not.
So that's pretty
a huge training program. Like when I was living up north racing clubby stuff, like especially at Northcliffe, I had like one point, I don't know, I was training with one of the guys I live with, Cotter, and I think we're doing like 18 sessions a week or something.
Oh, 18.
Yeah, like you were literally everything revolved around you'd swim.
Do you reckon it's too much when you do that, or
for me? Yeah. I don't think it was awesome to do it and see like some people really need that. I think where they need to like know that they've just done such a bank of work that they can like do anything.
If I do that, like I don't recover. Like I think I just go backwards. Like I actually just feel.
Yeah, I did it for like maybe a couple of months with Jez, and then I was just like, I couldn't keep it up. It was pretty. He smashed it out. It was pretty amazing. But I always you kind of always feel like you need to do more, but it's like I think really reining it in and like making sure that you do those 2 sessions, you do quality sessions.
Yeah, well, that's right.
And
you have to recover. You have to get your body time to.
And for me too, like with like Mal and the kids, it's like it was kind of like there wasn't really much. I was training in the dark in the morning. I was training in the dark at night, and I was working all day. So it was like,
and it's that opportunity cost as well. Like for every minute you spend training, you're not with your family, you're not at home, where it's like it's pretty, and it messes with your head a bit, especially you're in winter, I suppose, when you finish work, it's already dark almost. You have to go and train then, like that's some serious discipline. That's not fun.
That was the thing, and in the end it was like it wasn't that bad when the kids were young because they kind of they're always home, so you see like they're not at school, or it's not like you miss them doing like they're always there, but it definitely towards the end, like especially that losing after sort of the high of highs of winning everything to then you've really, like for me personally, I just felt like I was such a letdown for those guys because it's like all that time you are away training.
Yeah, it's hard,
focusing on that, and it's I kind of got to a point like 2015 and I had a pretty crazy year where it was amazing because I was really, really fortunate that I had my sponsors wanted to take me to the US for like races and like weekends of like doing clinics and showing our Tassie doco and stuff, and that was a massive like I don't know, that's like kind of what you aim for. You want to be able to go, but it was like I was getting to go away, but there's no money in the sport I was doing that I couldn't bring my family with me. That was like, I didn't want to then experience stuff that they couldn't experience.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like kind of a bittersweet thing. It was like everything you've worked for and you've put all this time in, and people kind of don't really realize like it's easy when you're not the one putting the work in and you're like, oh, well, why don't you just stop? Or why don't you like you really put and like to be a world champ, like you it's selfish. Like you have to be. And I just got to a point where with Mel and the kids that I just didn't want to be selfish.
Yeah, of course,
I still wanted to win, but it was like...
It's a big commitment. Like I say, at opportunity cost, like you're away from your family, and I know with everything, like with training, it's hard. Like I remember times in Brisbane when I did K1 canoeing and wake up 4 a.m. and you sort of train for 2 hours and you finish work and train for another 2 hours, and like I lasted 1 year and I said, no, stuff it. I'm not going to do this.
Yeah, you know? And the morning ones I didn't find that bad because
really,
Mel and the kids were still in bed. Like they're the hardest because you got to get up. You don't want to get out of bed.
It's freezing cold.
But like at least those ones I didn't mind because Mel and the kids were normally still asleep. So it's like I haven't missed anything. But it's hard, like especially when they get long on the Saturdays and you're leaving at 5 a.m. and you're not getting back till after lunch. Yeah, and like those started to sort of wear on me in the end. But you're obviously pretty talented because you're train like that train. That's not a crazy training schedule you're talking about, and like you didn't have any crazy diets that you followed. Like you just sort of ate sort of normal food. Train semi hard and world champ. So you did Molokai. You've won Molokai. You've came second in it once or twice. Yeah,
and then
I was top 4 for 5 years or 6 years or something like that. So.
Wow, that's incredible. But what I'm really curious about is this Bass Strait crossing, because to me that just sounds absolutely insane. Like how did you come up with this crazy idea to go like, I'm going to paddle all the way to Tassie and you actually like, how did you go from that just being an idea to I'm actually going to do this? Because it sounds pretty crazy. Like how far is that? Like it's so literally
300 k's, so
300 kilometers on a paddleboard.
Yeah.
Like that's everyone sit you down. Anyone ever sit you down and go, hey Zeb, like it's good to have dreams, but like this is a bit crazy.
We like that one was one I'd wanted to do for a long time. Like I'd started looking at it like years earlier with I tried to talk my mates from Torquay into it and they're just like, you're tripping.
Yeah, really?
But and I was, to be honest, at that time too, like I had these wild ideas, like we needed to make like a 20-foot paddleboard and like thinking because it'll be faster, and it's like it's just like the complete wrong idea. Like so, I think like Mum even reckons I was like 15 and I was like, I reckon we can paddle Bass Strait.
Yeah, really, because Bass Strait's even like, I reckon that's pretty well known area of sea. That's like, it's crazy. Yeah, it's pretty shallow. So you have like crazy currents, like crazy wind.
Yeah,
high speed winds.
Doesn't take much for it to get rank out there.
No, and I think like when I say high winds, like up to like 100, 150 k's an hour.
Yeah, like the roaring 40s where it's like meant to just be windy 24/7. So we paddled through, there was dead glass. So
far out. So how did you? So you had this idea when you were about 15, and then you kind of how did you like? Did you approach sponsors to try and get them? Like how did you actually?
So it kind of came about at a good time where I was doing really well, I guess, in all the distance paddle races, and I'd kind of won most of the big ones that you could win. And me and Jack had become really good friends, and Gawley had just sort of been Jamie Mitchell, who was a guy that I knew really well, like him and his brother Justo from the Goldie.
Oh yeah.
When I lived up there and raced up there, and so we were like, and Jamie had won Molokai like 10 years in a row, like free. Okay. Yeah, so that
is he
that had always
human. Like that's not.
Yeah, he's a freak, and but too he just, I think a lot of the time, like a lot of guys always come into Molokai, like especially from Oz, like and that's the hard thing. I probably had people in America hate on me for like saying stuff like, just we're competitive. Like everything's a competition here. Like if it's like who can drink their beer the fastest, I
think it's a very Australian thing, right?
Yeah, like we're this super competitive nation, and it's like so yeah, like it was one of those things that I like going into Molokai. I was like, Jamie's won it 10 times. Like, why not? Like, we're going to try to win it 10 times. a lot of crew came in like through Jamie's reign, and they come in and they were like amazing board paddlers, like from clubby backgrounds, like amazing, but they'd only have one crack or two cracks at it. And Jamie was like, he'd put the time in.
Yeah.
Where he was an amazing clubby paddler as well. So like sprint paddler.
Yeah. So Jamie did bass with you?
No. But he was the one that lit the fire for like most of us Australian guys to go down that route of not these sprint races, but the longer ones.
So he was like your inspiration almost for like
yeah. And like I think him and Mick DeBetter, Aaron Bitmean, like those North Burleigh guys were like, they were on that race early. Like Mick won the first ever race that there was.
Yeah, okay.
Like,
really?
And he was the coach of those guys. So we had those guys to kind of look up to, but then like Gawley, after Jamie won his 10th, like Gawley got second to him, and then Gawley like was just the guy to beat. So and he's like one of the nicest blokes you'll ever meet. So
okay,
it was just that sort of timing where I was like, hey, Gawley and Jack, do you guys want to, I've got this paddle I've been planning. Like we'd broken it down that each day was pretty much a Molokai, and we're like, well, at that time
each day was a Molokai.
Yeah. So, and we'd sort of figured out, I was like, well, we're the fastest guys at the moment at that. Like, we should just do this together. Like, I'd thought about doing it alone, and like, I think you'd just tear yourself to shred. Like, mentally, like the amount of ups and downs you go through out there, unless you got perfect conditions, it'd just be,
because this is the thing, it's not even flat
such
water,
a mind
you're
game.
just battling all the time. Because you say it's what, like how many kilometers, like 300 kilometers?
300 k's. So we're doing like 50 k's a day pretty much.
Jeez. Okay.
Yeah. So I kind of, Gawley was like, yeah, I'm in, and then Jack was straight. He didn't know what Bass Strait was, so it was easy to convince him.
But no worries, let's go.
Yeah, let's go. I'm like, tell your folks it'll be fine. Like, but so we got into it, and they were like, we're on. So we started sort of trying to drum up spot. Like we filmed some stuff, and we were like sending it to we're trying to get, especially the likes of Red Bull and that on board, and we're like, hey, we want to do this paddle, blah blah blah, like this is our credentials, I guess. Would you guys be interested in it, like in filming it? And they, like Red Bull, were like, but you're not going to make it. Like,
is that what Red Bull said?
Yeah.
So if Red Bull says that, like, it's a pretty impossible paddle. Like, they're into some extreme stuff.
The thing that kind of, for me, I guess, like going back to like why I was like, I want to do Bass Strait is there's a lot of guys from Torquay, like, and John Jacoby's probably one of the main guys for me, that he's paddled it multiple times, and like
what, bass?
Yeah, on like sea kayaks and surf skis and stuff.
Okay.
And I was like, if these guys can do it on, like, naive as all hell, but I was like, if these guys can do it on a
how much harder is it to do it on a paddleboard compared to a kayak, you reckon? Because like you
no one else has ever done it yet.
No one else has ever done it, eh?
Yeah, it was only us dumb enough to.
I wanna check out. So I'm sure there are some of the listeners that don't actually know where the Bass Strait is. Like I'll just pull it up quickly. Just have a quick look.
But yeah, I was lucky. I had like guys like John Jacoby.
That's you guys, right?
Where is
that's
it?
you.
I can't see
Zeb
it.
Walsh.
Hasn't come up on the screen.
There you go.
Yeah, that's us.
Bro, is that you in the middle?
I'm on the.
Are you in the far right?
Hand.
Are you in the left? In the right?
And that's Gawley in the middle, and that's Jack on the other side. So Jack, when we did this, was 18.
18.
Yeah.
Far
and he'd
out.
never been away from his like never. It's come to Oz. He's been in Oz for like 2 days.
Pretty tough bloke.
And he's straight into this.
Far out. How'd he go?
Yeah, he killed it.
Yeah.
He's an absolute weapon.
So where'd you start? So Wilson's Promontory?
Wilson's Prom in Waterloo Bay is the actual bay.
Oh, that's a good spot. I went camping there.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And then we paddled to a spot in it's called Cape It's on like the northeast end of Tassie there. So.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to see if I can find a map of where you guys paddled. Just have a quick look.
But yeah, I was kind of lucky that.
Why Bass? Like why Bass? Like why did you decide to go?
Well, it's
Bass
in my
Strait?
back door.
Yeah.
Like it's like I'd grown up as a kid. Like I did other sports and that, but like surfing and surf lifesaving was always sort of so I was always in the water, I guess, on the fringe of Bass Strait, and I was like I was about to say, I was lucky. I had guys like John Jacoby and that from Torquay that had done all these crazy adventures, and it didn't seem like such a stretch. It didn't seem so
crazy.
Yeah, it kind of it's like, oh, those guys can do it. Like honestly, I didn't like John Jacoby. I mention him a lot in any podcast I guess I've ever done, because he's a crazy adventure racer from Torquay, and he's just done the coolest stuff.
Yeah.
Like craziest trips, and it's just purely the norm for John. Like he just they went down and paddled around like South Georgia Island, like down pretty much near Antarctica, like kayaked around it. And
really?
John wanted to kayak around it and run across it and back or something. Like
what Antarctica?
No, South Georgia Island.
Oh, far out. Okay.
So he's just done the rat, and like as a kid, I had no clue. Like our coach at the surf club would be like, "Oh, John, come and talk to the kids," and we're like, "Oh, he just paddles real slow along the coast," or like, he was a marathon kayaker, and like you listen to some of the stuff he's done like on podcasts, and he's like he rode around Tassie, I think when he was 13, or his parents let him go, him and a mate, and they rode around Tassie on their push bikes, and he was like 12 or 13.
Oh, really?
Just mental.
Whoa, that's amazing.
So like I was lucky. I had guys like that was like, and like I talked to John about it, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you can do it."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Oh, okay."
So
yeah, we can do it.
How tough was it actually? Like doing the bass? Like was it
brutal?
Yeah. Like that's what I was interested. Like how do you actually stay like motivated while you're doing it, like during those tough times? Because like you're doing like that 50 kilometers every single day on. It's not just flat water. It's crazy choppy water, currents, headwinds, and like serious headwinds, right?
Yeah.
Like
we didn't get it. Like you look up, if anyone listening like wants to, like you look up Bass Strait, and you're gonna see just chaos, like water, like boats sinking, and we punched into headwind, but we got pretty like our last day was pretty wild, but.
Yeah, because I don't think people realise how chaotic it is. Like, I know, like, during that... What's that sailing race we have from Sydney
to Hobart?
Like, a few guys died on that a few years
I think
ago,
it was 2000...
And that's sailing. That's not even on
98. Yeah, there's 6 guys died, I think, that year.
Yeah. It's a pretty dangerous stretch of ocean, that. Like,
yeah, because it's not actually that deep. So any wind that comes in, and because it cops all the cold fronts, like, that swing under Australia, pretty much.
Yeah.
And... So it gets wild quick.
Yeah.
Like we generally here, like when we go to do a downwinder, you want the wind to blow for a couple of hours before you, like if it's just swung, it's like, unless it's really howling, it doesn't really, like there's little bumps, but it hasn't really built up yet. We're out there, it's like 5 minutes and there's crazy bumps.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's just a lot of water, and they come in so fast. It's like
So what do you have to do? Did you have to like break up your paddle quite a lot? Like do you do a few Ks and then stop, or do a few Ks and stop? Or
no, it's open ocean. So that's the biggest challenge with those sort of paddles. Like, is once you start, you can't stop.
Wow. Okay.
So, because if you stop, the tides are going to push you wide of where you're actually trying to get to, or pull you backwards, and you'll lose ground. So we had to commit to every day. Like, if we didn't think, we pulled the pin. We did our first day to Hogan Island, and we got there, and the wind went southwest. And in the morning, we were like, we even got on the yacht, and we sailed like our support boat, and we sailed out into the next channel.
Yeah.
Because it was like cross shore, but we were like, oh, maybe we can like run across the bumps and still get out there. And we sailed out there, and it was like the chances of us making the Kent group, we would have just got pushed like straight past it.
Yeah.
And the problem then was like if we were 38 Ks into that 40K crossing to Erith, and we pulled the pin, we had to go back to Hogan. So we just paddled 38 Ks for no reason. So we had to kind of try to be as smart as we could.
Yeah, okay.
To not sort of take unnecessary risk, I guess, on attempting a stretch that was like 50-50 on it could fail. We needed to be 90% that it was that it was going to be makeable. Like, well, you couldn't, like you could, but you're just wasting like energy, you're wasting fuel, it's just a waste of resources, really.
So yeah, I'm just trying to understand how you do it. So like you do like 50 Ks a day, like at the end of the day, like what do? You have your support boat there. Are there islands along the way? And that's what you do? Like you like island hop and you just go island.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
okay.
like Bass Strait's got, I think 116 islands throughout Bass Strait.
Okay.
So yeah, so each day, like that's why we went the eastern route. That there's pretty much every 50 Ks there's an island.
Is this the eastern route you're talking about? Is that the eastern route?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Like all those dots are kind of, so the first dot's Hogan Island, the second dot's like Deal or the Kent group, and then because we were on paddleboards, normally you have to go Deal to Flinders.
Yeah. Okay.
But because we were on paddleboards and we could make land on, there's a little island called Craggy Island that's just like a bunch of rocks, pretty much.
That's so crazy that you did that. That's
like, make it to there, and that was honestly probably one of the shittest days. Like we punched straight into like.
Where's that from?
2 meters of swell coming at us, headwind.
Jeez.
We got followed by it was past a big seal colony, like off White Rocks, so we got followed by a big shark for a while.
Oh, there you guys. Like, is that's when you finish, right? That's when you.
Yeah, that's when we landed in Pedro Point.
Oh, you look happy. there. Happy to be finished.
The last day we ended up having to do 2 days in one. So, because there was another big front coming and we're running.
Oh, really?
The boat back.
So if that front came before you finished, would you have had to start all over again?
We would have had to go back to, Long Island, and we would have had to wait to probably potentially get a boat to come back.
Yeah, okay. Far out.
Because the boat we had, they needed it back because they were going on a trip. So there's a lot going on. And like I said, like first on, like we pitched it to Red Bull and they were just like, you're not going to. So like pretty much me and Gawley.
What did Red Bull? So Red Bull didn't want part of it. They just
they were into it, but they were like.
They actually thought you weren't going to make it.
And they have like, they put money into some rad stuff, and they were just like, from what I know, they'd had a heap of stuff fail at that point. Like a heap that they'd put money into were just for certain reasons, stuff had gone wrong, and they didn't want to take the risk. They weren't going to, and they were just like, it's too big of a risk. Like they talked to like Jimmy Spittle, who was like their Red Bull, like America's Cup, Oracle team. And I guess they were like, it's just too big a punt. Like we can't.
What did they say once they?
Well, they bought the footage once we were done.
Oh, they bought it. Okay.
Yeah. Well, they got it for like production costs, so we didn't make a cent out of it.
Really?
I felt like
you should get a better negotiator next time.
We put me and Mel put pretty much the life savings into it, but it was one of those things too where it like came back around on the Torres Strait trip. So, but
so the Bass Strait was 2014, and when was the Torres Strait trip?
2016.
2 years later.
Yeah.
So what happened? You just went a bit stir crazy and go, time for my next big
Oh no, I was as soon as we'd done Bass Strait, I was like on the map. I was looking for every land bridge.
Really?
Because the adventure side, I'd always knew like your race prime, like now, like, I'm technically for endurance races and probably still in my prime.
Where's Torres Strait for people that don't know? Like, that's
Torres Strait's between like Papua New Guinea and Cape York.
Papua New Guinea and Cape York.
Yeah.
So that's Northern Australia.
Yep.
So yeah, wow.
It's the Torres Strait Islanders sort of.
Oh yeah, wow. Okay.
There,
so is it just specifically sort of like land bridges that you were trying to find, or is it
like with the land bridges? Is like the thing that it offers up is like that it's not. A lot of people are like, oh, why don't you do like Australia to New Zealand? And it's like, well, we'd have to get back on a boat every night.
Yeah.
And like you can GPS it, and like you could do it and do the entire thing, and like, but
it's not
people
authentic.
write you off. It's like they'd be like, oh, as if they would have just boated 100 k's and then done it.
Yeah, they don't really believe that you sort of picked up.
So with the land bridges, it just offers like an A to B that you can actually do, and then another A to B, and then another A to B.
Okay.
So it's like that's why I kind of always look for the land bridges, because it's like you can break it down into like however you want to do it, but it's like those big ones, it just leaves you open, I think, to scrutiny. Like so it's like some crew might do just the crossing and then like go overland to the next crossing and then paddle the next one, where it's like,
so it's kind of the same thing as when you did the Bass. You just like you island hop essentially, and you just go from island to island to island.
And Torres Strait's the same thing. Like there's islands, all through there. So
how far was that?
That was only about 200 k's, I think.
Only, that's still pretty far, mate. Like
it's pretty far when you're paddling a dugout tree.
Yeah. so you actually used a let's see if we can find it. Is that's your actual? Yeah. You guys actually made it. You actually dug out your own canoe.
We cleaned it up and like finished it off.
Yeah. Okay.
That had so Saibai, where we did it. So we weren't allowed. Border Patrol wouldn't let us go from Papua New Guinea. So.
Oh, they wouldn't.
No, because they didn't. I don't know. There was like a whole. They didn't want us promoting that you could actually island hop through there, because they don't want people to use it as a gateway into Australia, I guess.
Oh, right, okay.
But so Saibai's only a k and a half from Papua New Guinea. Like you can see it; it's in the background.
Yeah,
like,
that's all right.
So, but in the middle of that strait, where the actual borderline goes through, there's a big sand spit. So we paddled out to that sand spit and started there.
Oh yeah, right, okay.
And paddled back, but yeah.
So cool. So that's your actual dugout canoe.
So they barter, like they got free trade between, like the villages on the other side in Papua New Guinea and Torres Strait. So they got
what? Free
trade. So they can go back and forth across that border without passports and that sort of thing. But so they bought those trees off a village, Sabe, on the other side in Papua New Guinea, and
really,
so those guys rough dug them out over there, and then they towed them over, and then we like sort of finished them off and dug them out and made the accus and the armor and everything. Yeah.
Right. How much harder is it to paddle that compared to a paddleboard, or is it easier actually because you have paddles?
Oh no, it's
a heavy looking thing,
like for me, I wanted to paddleboard it. I wanted to do the straight paddleboarding with Jack and Brad.
Yeah.
And
do you reckon that's unwise? Like knowing that there are so many salties out there.
Do you know it's the jellyfish?
Jellyfish,
stingers, and that like.
Really?
Like the Irriganjian box jellyfish and stuff like that. Like we could paddle that straight, I think, in 4 days, like given the right conditions.
Yeah,
like doing 50 k's a day, like we did it doing Tassie. Like you could do it, and
the water's warm as well. Like you're not like stuck with freezing water. Like because bass would be tougher than Torres. Or
the year like when we did it, like the water was beautiful. Like it was 20. I think going along Flinders, it was like 21 degrees or 22 degrees. It was like
beautiful.
So Bass Strait. The hard thing there is like that. Like the stuff you can't see, like
Yeah.
the jellyfish. And like we were there in like the off season. We were diving off the canoe in channels, and like that trip was wild. Like, and we on one of the first crossings sunk the canoes and
What's that?
like filled the canoes, and we had to drag them to the like closest island.
Really?
Yeah, it was like in the
Why is
middle of the
that? Like,
night, like.
Just like you just got too much water in it? Or
Yeah,
like,
just it was
what happened?
wrong. Like we were pressed for time for. I think Red Bull wanted the doco at a certain time, so we had to just go, and it wasn't probably the right time of year to do it.
Okay. Far out.
So, but it was like Bass Strait was amazing because it was like the challenge, and it was an adventure, but for me, like I find it was really just the challenge, and like we were just paddling every day. It was like get to there, get to there, get to there. Like just go.
Yeah.
We're
just like essentially, it's so cool. You just
we've
got some photos there of you guys. Just that's one of the islands you guys.
Yeah, so that's on Gabba Island. So that's a cursed island. So we were on
Cursed?
there for 2 days. Yeah.
What do you mean?
So
Cursed?
there used to be a village there, and I think there was like 2 or 3 kings at Torres Strait. I don't know the exact story, but they told us it up there. But so there was a village over where you can see the big sort of peak in the background.
Yeah, I'll just do that, sorry.
So
that one,
big peak, there's a village in that valley, I think it was, and this king, I don't even know his name, but from what they were telling us was he came in and like they pretty much slaughtered the whole village.
Oi, okay.
And what were left in the village fled to like Yam Island, so they still have the say over that island. And it was a crazy island, and like it's just like they say it's cursed, and it's like.
Are those tribes still there?
No, there's no one lives.
No one lives on that island anymore.
They don't even like going there. I don't think, from what they're telling me.
Really?
Yeah, and it's like then another like years later, I know there was a sailing ship that apparently ran aground there, and like there was, I don't know, 28 or 48 passengers on this ship, and they all starved to death.
Really? No way.
But the place is littered with food. Like it's
like what sort of food?
Fish and crayfish and clams, like pigs, like everything. Like
actually, that was one of my questions. So when you do these like big paddles, do you bring your own food? Like, do you bring like dehydrated foods with you, or do you just sort of rely?
When we did Bass Strait, we brought all our meals, like, and not like we had, because we had the boat, we had we had meat, steak, and chicken, and whatever.
But do you bring it like frozen, or like?
Yeah, just
how long does it keep fresh? Because it's pretty hot up there.
Oh, up there we had a big freezer on the back of the boat, but we were trying to we caught a lot of our own food.
Like
yeah. So we were catching.
That's your boat there, right? That's a nice shark in the back.
I only fell on that shark twice.
Really?
It ended up that thingy with Blake in it, and like one whole side of it deflated.
Oh, are you serious?
Pull him in because.
What is it? Is it a tiger?
It's a big tiger.
That's a tiger.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, you're brave. Like I'm terrified of sharks.
For ages too. I was grabbing my shorts because we were about to go and do another stretch, and I looked over and it was just staring at me, and then just disappeared.
Oh, mate, not for me.
That was just off Wednesday Island. That one. So.
I reckon I'd be more scared of the crocs because they're an ambush predator.
We didn't see there. Nah, they're pretty. Oh. Like I don't know. From what I knew of crocs, and like in the open water, they weren't as big a threat because they're not. It's kind of not ideal for them.
Yeah. But
like definitely on the beaches and stuff.
Yeah.
Because most places we only stayed for like one night.
Okay.
They were saying they reckon they'll watch what you do for 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, they fully do.
And they'll sort of map what you do, and then they'll like if you wash your hands every night before you go to bed, or you wash your dishes.
Yeah.
That's where they'll get you.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So they were like, you don't have to worry about it because you're only going to be there for a night, and then you'll move on. And we were camping on beaches, and there was croc slides up the beach, and
really.
Yeah.
What do you mean a croc slide? You can see
where they like you see their stomach and their. Like where they've just dragged themselves up the beach and but up there it was like scary. Crazy, like stonefish and stuff like that, and I was like
more scared of that.
Typical dumb whitey, and I'm like how do you know where the stonefish are? Like, well, you don't. Like, you don't. That's the whole thing. Like, because you have no idea.
Yeah.
And so that was pretty funny. It was like you just, I don't know, like stingrays. Like, I've never seen so many stingrays in my life.
Yeah, really.
Like, cool. They were everywhere, and big eagle rays and
And I'm pretty scared of those stonefish. Like, I went to Rarotonga last year, and they warned you about the stonefish.
Yeah.
Because apparently, like, you can't see them, and if you step on them, apparently it's like the worst pain you've ever felt in your life, and it just doesn't go away. Like, it stays for like 12 to 24 hours.
That's the thing. Like, the guys up there, and they all know, they've all been done before. But like, we think they're dead. Like, you stand on a stonefish, you're gonna die. And
it's just really bad. It's really painful.
Like, super, super painful. Yeah, and they reckon, like, Stan, one of our support guys up in Torres Strait, he's like from up there, and he's like been done like 5 times, and he's like
5 times. You reckon, like, by like the 3rd time he'd buy some like ocean shoeys or something?
Nah, well, I think they get them like when they're net fishing and stuff too, and like they'll just
true.
prick you, and it's like,
wow.
But I found one in a pond we were swimming in, like a rock pool, like. And I was like, swam over to the edge, and I was super sus because I was like, this has got to be like prime stonefish, sort of.
Yeah.
Like a rock pool and this reef. And
got to be careful with rock pools, because I know even down here we get those, what do you call them? The blue ring octopus.
Yeah, you get them in Torquay Point.
And it's fatal, eh? Like, if you get...
they're way gnarlier than like a stonefish.
Like, inject like a neurotoxin and you're done.
So your heart will just stop. And it's hard because it's like, you've just got to continue. From what I know about them, it's like you've got to just keep CPR going for ages, and then it'll wear off, and then they'll come back. But it's like,
Yeah, no, not good.
But that's you. I think, like, with the blue ring, like, I'm not 100%, but as far as I know with them, it's like you have to pick it up for it to bite you. Like, they don't come after you and try and bite you. Like,
Okay.
So you've got to pick it up, and then
Because I actually found one in those. I went like a cave diving or cave swimming with Rufus, my dog. Like, I think you and your kids went there one day. Like, you know, you can
through haystacks.
Yeah. I think it's called haystacks.
Yeah, we always swim through there forever.
Yeah. Well, it was just at the entrance. There was a blue ring.
There you find them in the reef there. They're not always there, but I've only seen a handful over my life of playing in there flat
They're
out.
tiny.
So.
They're like size of your like smaller than the size of your
And I think
fist.
that's kind of that. It's almost like the thing that's dangerous with them is they're so small.
They're so
like,
small.
You're kind of like, what could that thing do to me?
Yeah, you think it's,
But they're the bad ones. Like the big one you can pick up. They don't do anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Right. So Torres Strait, actually, that's historically quite a significant crossing, right? Because I think that's, like, according to Indigenous history, like, correct me if I'm wrong, I think our Indigenous came down from, where is it, like Indonesia down New Guinea?
They would have come through Indonesia, like Timor, sort of, like it wasn't Indonesia and Timor then, it was all joined up. Yeah, like into PNG and down through.
Yeah, but that was a land bridge. Like, you could physically walk across, right?
Yeah.
Like, so like 8,000 years ago, before the oceans sort of rose, like, you could physically walk it, right?
Yeah.
And same with Australia and Tassie.
Yep.
So was that sort of part of the reason why you picked those sort of land bridges?
Well, so after we'd done Tassie, like, it was a couple of years later, and like George Apache, who had put together the doco for Red Bull with the footage we had from Tassie, sort of rang me and was like, hey, Red Bull want to know if you've got any other ideas. And I was like, I threw a whole heap out.
Yeah, really?
I'd been looking there, and I'm like, what about this? But then they were into that one, and like I had, like, for me it was like pretty significant that, like, I'd done the southern land bridge from, like, that isn't there
and
anymore.
And the most northern land bridge.
And then this was like the northern land bridge of where all our Indigenous did come in at some point through there, and it's a massive
culture is very
significant for Australia, and it's
I find it fascinating how thousands of years ago, people crossed massive, vast, open oceans. Like, for example, like the Cook Islanders crossed to New Zealand.
Yeah.
Like the Polynesians crossed over to Hawaii. Like, I just don't understand how, like, they just set out on the ocean and just hope for the best. Or I don't.
And I think for me,
I don't get it. Like,
I've been like, that's the heart. I've been trying to. Everyone's always like, why did you do it?
Yeah.
And it's like, there's no smart answer to that.
Yeah.
There's no real reason. Like, there's no like, I didn't get any richer from doing it.
Yeah.
It probably cost me money.
Yeah.
But
what a life experience. Like,
and it's like, does anyone really care that you did it? And I'm like, probably not. But it's like, it's that learning through. And like, for me, Torres Strait was extremely like special to learn from the indigenous crew, like the Torres Strait Islanders. And like, I've always had a massive respect for.
Do you have a lot of interaction with the guys over there? Like any locals or?
Yeah. Well, like, we built the canoes.
Part of your crew,
we built the canoes with with the elders on Saibai and like Uncle Cedric and those guys. And it's just learning like that way. And Torres Strait, like for me, was like.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think people understand. Like, everyone up there does something. Like, no one's not doing anything. Like, there might be like small role in something, but like everyone had a job doing something. So it was, and but I've always like you said, like that pollen, and that's probably why I like, for me, like it's like the closest I can be to like a voyager of like the Polynesian. Like, I love Hawaii and I love their culture and I love the like they were amazing what they could how they could travel like for months on the water.
I just couldn't understand how they did it. Like, do you reckon they actually knew somehow where they were going, or did they?
I think they understand the weather and they understand they understand that certain times of year you get patterns of wind, you get patterns of tide, and
but they just blindly travelled, right?
And they'd use the stars, and they knew their surroundings so well that it was and I think like I hunt a little bit now, and like the more you do it, the more you learn and the more you sort of understand. And it's like I think it's a really small part of like not only did these guys hunt and do all that, like plus they could sail.
It's amazing
with nothing but like stars. And
I find it fascinating. Just the fact that they could make those thousands of kilometers. They could just like I mean, like the Cook Islanders traveled all the way to New Zealand. It's just
Oh, I can't even like. I don't know off the top of my head all the stuff. Like I've gone down some deep rabbit holes on
really.
There's islands out there that we don't even know, like talk about.
Yeah.
Where like a lot of this began, like out in the Pacific, and like, like we know so little about.
Yeah.
There's like volcanic glass, or I think it's glass or stone. From, I can't remember the name of the island, but like that is being found everywhere all over the world.
Oh, okay.
That these guys could only have come from there. So they've travelled.
Do you mean they moved it around, or?
Well, they used it for tools. So they've travelled through like everywhere, and there's like, I think like the south end of New Zealand they've found it, and like it was traded, I think, even with the Aboriginals here in Australia. And so, and
it almost sounds like that mystery, like glass skulls that you find all over in the world. I don't know, like how were they distributed thousands of years ago? Like found in all these different countries. Like,
it's just, and it was traded. It was like tools. It was like, hey, I'll give you this if you give me that kangaroo skin, or like, and that was like too, like when you look at the thing like I really loved with Torres Strait was learning like their culture and like they're big on signs you get from stuff.
How do you mean?
So like the day before we started the paddle up north, before I left, like the Watherong down here, like their totem's like Bunjil, like the eagle, and I got that tattooed on my arm.
Oh, is that what you have on your arm?
Yeah. So that's Bunjil. And
right, okay.
And I've lived on Wallarong land my whole life, so it was like sort of my tie back to
Yeah. Oh, because you grew up, like I wasn't sure if you grew up in Queensland or Victoria.
No, down. I lived up Queensland for a little while.
Yeah.
So like I was born and bred in Torquay, so like on Wallarong land, and like my kids loved the Bunjil stories and stuff like that. So for me, I was like, I want that on my arm, and so and then we were sitting down. This is an
amazing place. Like
yeah.
Yeah.
And so we were sitting on the canoes, like as we blessed the canoe, and there was only us and a couple of the guys that had been really involved with making the canoes with us. And this massive seagull flew over.
No way.
And I was like, oh, did you guys see it? Like huge.
Really?
And no one saw it.
Just you?
Yeah. And Leonard, he's like, that's a sign. I was like, oh, yeah, all right, whatever. And then that night, we got Maya, my daughter's name, is like an ancient Aboriginal. We haven't been we found it somewhere, but it was like Aboriginal for like lunar, like the moon.
Oh, really?
So that's why we named Maya that. And it was a full moon that night.
I like the name. And then Maya's also an ancient Mayan name, I think.
Yeah. And he's like, there's another sign. And then the local doctor come up and introduced himself, and his name was Marlo.
No way.
Yeah. And up there too, they've got Marlo Law, which is like, so I was like, and he's like, 3 pretty big signs. It's like far out. And so like that side for me is always like, I'm definitely not against religion or anything like that, but I'm not.
But you would say you're spiritual.
Yeah. And that side to me really play. And like there was other things that happened where they were like, especially at Gabba, they're like, don't yell. Like
where?
on Gabba Island, that cursed island.
Don't yell. Yeah, really?
Like,
okay.
Be quiet when you get there. Like, say why you're there, and like we're only going to be here for 2 days, and we'll only take what we need, or like talk to the spirits of the island.
Yeah, wow.
And on the way up, the boys stopped there, and Mick, who was the director, was like yelling out to the other boys, and like everything went wrong for him on that trip.
Really?
Like,
who's this? What's his name?
Mick Wilkins. So he was the director. He like ended up, he cut his finger with a planer, he stepped on a dugong or a turtle flipper and like cut his foot open, got staph, got like all this stuff. And I was just like, this old black magic stuff. I think I believe in this a bit more than I do in Jesus. So like it was...
that's so interesting. Like,
yeah, so that side of it, like I found like amazing too. I was just like, all right, I'm just gonna do what you guys told me.
Yeah, just not to do.
Too
like,
much
I'm not
of
gonna
this stuff keeps happening. It's like, like that when like I've always really like when I was a kid, like I think I used to, and they'd be like, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I just wanted to be an Aboriginal. But I really found like that, and like the Polynesian, like I love that.
Yeah.
And I think, and like when people kind of, it's like, I think that's probably my one thing why I do those adventures is to try and, one, you slow it down. Like everything's so fast now. Like I could go to Bass Strait next weekend on a jet ski or something, and it's easy.
I think it grounds you. Like we're so busy today. Like just doing like you can find yourself to like an office these days. You're in like 4 square walls, and you've got your iPhone, and you've got your crazy life. But like back then, it was completely different. Like if you
there's nothing hard nowadays. Though you want meat, you go to the shop.
Yeah,
like, and that's I've always been
everything.
Big on that with my kids, and like showing them where food comes from. Like
I think it's important.
We've butchered animals, and it's like
you've got some super hyperactive kids there. they're really rad.
Yeah, but you put an iPad in front of any of these kids, and holy shit, they just turn into a zombie.
Yeah, I don't think it's good, mate. Like it's and I think it's actually funny. Like scientifically, they've like some of the research studies shows that the blue lights behind the screens actually slow your brain functioning down a bit. Yeah. It's like even when you study, if you study from a computer screen, it slows your brain, literally slows you down. I don't think it's good, man. Like everything's too plastic. We need to.
I think the one thing that I kind of take from it all is like I hope that And I do know, like, Maya wants to do stuff. Like, she doesn't think it's weird to paddle across Bass Strait or paddle across Torres Strait. Like, she's like, I want to do that. And it's like, I kind of like, I just hope that
I
by doing this stuff, at least it spurs on that next generation to like, are you going to get money out of it? Probably not. But
what an adventure.
Is it worth doing? Like 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
So just get out there and it's, and really it's not, and that's like I said, I keep trying to figure out why or how, like, it's like the finish isn't the goal really, like in the long, like it always is when you're doing it. But like the more I look back at it, and like in Bass Strait's like one where I'm like, I don't like, didn't change my life doing it. I didn't get riches out of it. But
probably
the
did
journey,
in a sense, like that.
The
that
journey
experience.
was what it's about. It's not about like, it's like Yvonne Chenard from Patagonia is like the conquerors of the useless. Like it might not mean hardly anything to someone else, but like you've been on this massive journey to get to where you got to, and it's that side of it for me now is like, I think
that's what life's about, like building these experiences, and it also builds character, like to go through experiences like that. Do you quick question about sort of Torres Strait, like what was I'm always curious when you sort of, because you did it in a group, it was Cormac Evans, Eddie Ward, and Bo, who was it? Bo Green?
Bo Greaves.
Bo Greaves,
I had a blank there.
So, because that's a long time to spend in a group. Like,
there was some mutinies almost on that bloody canoe.
That's what I, because you're in a canoe with these guys like for hours every day. Like, what a struggle is it to try and like keep morale high and like get even if you're best mates with someone, to be in that sort of close proximity all the time, like how do you manage that sort of conflict? Or like, I'm sure you'd have some conflict. Like,
100%. Me and Eddie almost punched on in the canoe. Like, really? Two big dudes just turn around and turn on each other. It was pretty funny. It was, but you do like, and that was hard because out of those three, like I got Cormac involved. I know Cormac from down here, and I was like, he was working on a paddle for Indigenous Men's Health.
Yep.
And he'd asked me for help on that. And
because that's right, because he's involved in some volunteering activities there.
He's got a whole company, like he's got his own business now, so he's like, and then Indigenous mentor group, like Strong Brother, Strong Sister.
Okay.
And like he's got another one, is it Narrabili or that like they help Indigenous create businesses.
Is that Cormac?
Yeah, that's Cormac.
That's Cormac. So is that his business, or no? That's not his business. Culture is Life.
Culture is Life. No, that's not. That's a I don't know if I can see it. It might be online, but
okay.
He so Cormac started Strong Brother, Strong Sister. So he works in Geelong with with a lot of there we go. We're back. Wow. He works in Geelong, around the Geelong area in Melbourne, with a lot of young Indigenous kids.
Yeah, that
awesome. Need help or just need crew to talk to or whatever. And they do a lot of activities. Be it surf, they got a surf team. And
awesome.
Like they're doing awesome stuff. And he's also got another company, and I should be able to just spit out the name off the top of my head, but I can't. But where they're helping Indigenous.
When you remember the name, I'll put the link to all these these businesses in the podcast if you want.
Yeah, so I got Cormac involved because being what Torres Strait was, I was like, I thought he'd love it. And like being an Aboriginal man, like
And is he a paddler as well? Like, or did he have to sort of train for it?
More as a surfer. So.
Yeah, really? Okay.
But I'll tell you what, if I didn't have Cormac there, there would have been murders on that trip, I reckon. It was he grounded everyone, I think. So,
okay. I reckon you need someone like that on a trip like that. Always, like.
I'm so glad I had Cormac there. He's like one that had my... Because I didn't know Bo and I didn't know Eddie and...
that's tough.
Yeah, it was tough. Like... This one, like Bass Strait, we had all the control doing it.
Yeah.
It was ours, and we paid, and we raised the money, and we got through it.
Yeah.
Where this one was like Red Bull from the start, so they kind of got their say, which in the same side was really good because it was much easier on me. But like you can't always, and it's close proximity, and it's like and like we clashed because like Eddie was from Torres Strait, so he's from Prince of Wales Island.
Oh and,
he's like, oh, we need to do this, and I'm like, mate, you don't. Like, they travel by, like, a tinny. Like, they got speed. Like, it's not... Yeah. And he's like, oh, we should be... And I'm like, mate, you don't understand. Like...
Yeah, the water dynamics is different when you're...
a craft that isn't that quick. So, you've got to... You allow for things differently.
Yeah. It's not just straight line. Like, you have to...
And he was like, oh, we'll just go with it and then punch hard back on the last bit. And I'm like, yeah, but then we're buggered. And this thing weighs, like, 700 kilos.
Yeah.
Like... So, we had, like, if you had the audio from that, it would have been interesting.
I wish I had that.
I think our Ash, our sound guy, was just like, oh, boys, you might want to listen to this. We may have a murder about to happen in the canoe. Yeah. I think we hooked up a shark while we were, like, about to punch on, and that might have, like, broke the tension a little bit.
Oh, that's awesome. What's next for you? Do you have any upcoming adventures?
I've got
or
plenty that I want to do. Yeah. I want to do more with the kids.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really looking forward to that. I've started working, I'm back with Patagonia, but I've been working with the Bragg guys out of Hawaii, which is the big wave risk assessment group.
Oh, right. Okay,
so
cool. I've heard about it. I saw you put something on Instagram last year when you started to get involved with that. So I've been like working on that here in Australia for like a year or two now. So Bragg, it is a big
wave risk assessment
group.
Big
wave risk assessment group. Okay.
So that was started in Hawaii, and it's a lot of it is training surfers, especially big wave surfers, to like to have CPR and like no rescue techniques. So because a lot of the time, like you don't have lifeguards there, and it's like surfers saving surfers, and like especially.
And you look at equipment as well that you need, like
inflatable
vest and stuff like that.
Yeah, so we have like, and we were down the like we would chase some swell like on Wednesday and got some pretty solid waves, and it's
really off bedrock, like out bedrock way or
further down the coast.
Yeah, okay.
We won't say where, but
keep it a secret. Eh?
Not secret, but it's just we just don't really put it out there. But it's it's just training those guys. And like I'd been not like chasing swells all over the world, but I'd been surfing big waves for a lot of years. And
what's the biggest you've seen?
Oh, I don't know, big enough shitting yourself.
So.
But
it's pretty scary, those big waves. Like I've only ever been in really, really big waves, and like I was stupid enough to like swim into them. And I think I told you like a while ago. This was in like
Porto, was it?
Yeah, Porto in Mexico.
Yeah,
man, that's not good. Like,
no, not Porto. They just hold you on the bank there too.
Just hold you down. Like, just hold you down for like I think an entire minute before you can't even surface. There's so much air in the water after those big waves come down. Like,
so like so we do a lot of stuff. Like it's not like most of the guys doing Bragg, not all of them. Like it's cool. Like there's a lot of other like random people. Like in Hawaii this year, there was a husband and wife that walked the beach every morning, and they wanted to do it in case they came across a surfer. They knew what to do.
Okay. So is it a certified course that you go into, or
like you do get a certificate out of it. Okay. It's not really like as far as ocean, and like if you were trying to hire someone that knew a lot about it would hold cred, but it's probably not like a life-saving certificate or something equivalent in Australia yet. Hopefully it will get there. Yeah. But
so is it planning? So is it planning before you go into these big wave situations?
A lot of it's like risk assessment. So the cool thing that I learned, it can go into anything. It doesn't even have to be surfing, but it's one of those things, and it's like just like I'd surfed this one spot down the coast for years, and our plan was always when something went wrong, we'll figure it out then. Like, which is pretty dumb.
It's pretty tough when you're in that situation.
Yeah. So it's just having a plan. So when it goes wrong, like you're not like having to think on a whim. It's like, okay, this is bang, bang, bang. Like step this, that.
Yeah.
And breaking it down, so like, and it doesn't have to be like a reactive thing. It's just like, all right, no, we're going to get him to the beach within 2 minutes. And start CPR or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And we know that the closest hospital's an hour and 20 minutes away, but there's a medical centre 18 minutes away, or there's a helicopter can be here in 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah, right, okay. So is it a documented approach you go through, or is it sort of like a sort of an informal, quick risk assessment you do before you go?
No, like Uncle Brian, like Brian Kailana from Hawaii, like probably one of the most legendary watermen there is.
Yeah.
So he's like probably the main instructor, and it's just a lot of what he's learnt over all the years, and he now works.
Awesome.
He's gone from being lifeguard to now like stunt coordinator, and they train military. Like they do like it's crazy. Like
really,
Brian's like his story is mental, but it's he's sort of like they've broken it down into like ocean risk management 1 and 2, and it's just getting people at least thinking. Yeah. So like having an exit plan. Yeah. Like so when something goes wrong, like where are you going to go in?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Oh, it's so important.
You don't really think about it. You always just kind of go, oh, I'm going to go in there. But all right, what if you can't go in there? Like, well, it's you. And so it's been a big eye opener for me, because I was surfing like waves of consequence with like no plan at all.
Yeah, really.
Okay. No, like we were paddling at that point. We didn't even have vests or inflation vests. We were just.
Jeez. So do you so once like after doing this like big wave risk assessment group, like have you actually changed some of your own behavior, or do
totally.
you
I have a first aid kit in the car. I've got like and
do you have an inflatable vest?
Or... Yeah, you do. I've had one for a long time, and to be honest, like down to the point, like I had an inflation vest and a foam vest.
Yeah.
And I'd go to like a big wave spot that we surf a bit, and with both of them in there, and be like, oh, it's not that big. And not wear anything.
Yeah, okay.
And now I'm like, it's just such a stupid thing to do.
Just in case. You could get knocked in the head.
Yeah, like, and that's the thing. Yeah. And then a lot of people, the big thing with the inflation vest now is people kind of look at that as a lifeline. It's like, that thing's only going to save you if you're conscious.
If so you can like, pull the cord. Like
foam for me is key. Like, I wear like we surf Wednesday. I had Patagonia sampling like a full steamer with foam in it.
Yeah,
and it's like, because we've had vests and short johns and stuff that we'd put under wetsuits and wear. And
that's so interesting. I reckon you should. So for people that want to get involved in the big wave risk assessment group, is it sort of anyone can get involved, or is
anyone?
It sort of,
like it doesn't, and that's the cool thing. Like I think, like, and we've brought it up even with the key guys in Hawaii on like being big wave risk assessment. Like a lot of people go, I don't surf big waves. I don't need to know it. And it's like, well, most of the accidents happen when it's small. Most of the big wave guys.
It's so easy for something to happen. Like I was in a wave like a month or two months ago. Like I'm body surfing and I got knocked in the face by a surfer, and I didn't even see him coming from the side. Like you can just like so easy for something to happen. Like your board come up, knock you, and you're unconscious.
100%.
It's not always the big waves, but
normally it's the small waves because you're not worried about it.
Yeah.
You're not thinking like, it's not a big deadly wave, but it's probably broken in shallower water because it isn't big. If it was bigger to break out in deeper water.
Yeah, that's right.
So like we definitely want anyone, like it doesn't have to. Like I said, in Hawaii this year there was an old couple that walked the beach every morning. They were like, we're doing it because we want to know how to save someone if we're walking along the beach and find a surfer. I think that's so good.
I think what I'll do is I'll put a link in the podcast if someone wants to look it up and join potentially, like, because it's
so we're potentially really going to try to hold some courses towards the end of the year. We were about to run the Torquay one.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Let me know when you do it.
2 weeks before the COVID thing kicked off, so that kind of threw a spanner in the works. But we're hoping now we might be able to run a few before the end of the year. And
okay. Yeah, I think it's so valuable because I wish I knew what I did before I went into those big waves in Puerto, because I actually almost died. Like I
Yeah.
was so lucky to get out of that. Like
it's just knowing and knowing how those beaches like work. Like maybe sitting up somewhere higher and figuring out like, okay, that water all stays on the bank. It doesn't drain out to the side, or it does drain out to the side. You just don't try to swim in.
And if you don't know what to look for, like it's like unless you know how to do a proper risk assessment, like it's pretty hard to just figure it out by yourself. So I think like a group like that would be, it's really useful. So,
and the brains behind it, I guess, when you look at like the guys that started it, like Cole and Danilo.
Yeah.
Cole Christensen and Danilo Contour from Hawaii.
Yeah.
They lost a few friends and they were like,
really?
We need to know how to say, because unfortunately, like in the big wave scene and like when we're like, it's not a random, it's someone you know.
Yeah.
And that's probably even harder is to deal with.
That's awful, man.
Like you found your mate drowned or something like that, which we're trying to, since Bragg started, like there's been a few, like even in Australia in the last month and a half, there's been 3 cases that I know of where luckily there's been either Bragg trained guys or trained guys in the water that have revived and saved.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of other guys that are always out on big days that had no idea what to do.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, it's better to have the training. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, let me know when you guys are running it again.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
I'd happy put those links up and like spread the word. So I think it's really important. Like too many people get out there in like bad situations and die. Like I remember a couple of years ago. Like, do you remember that dad and son that like the son almost drowned and dad tried to save him and didn't know what he was doing? I think that was out of lawn, was it? Yeah, and he died. The dad died.
It's always...
We had a weekend of like 3 or 4 people dying, like all in one weekend.
Yeah.
Like it's
And it's hard. It's you know, I get super frustrated down here, especially now, like, because the last year and a bit, like, I've worked really hard and like, and upskilled and done like other courses to be like up like my water safety and stuff like that. And it's really hard down here because our lifeguards, even through summer, like that we paid lifeguards on the beach and but we only get like 3 months of the year where there's paid lifeguards.
Yeah, we don't get many.
So it doesn't really, you don't have the experience of say Queensland and New South Wales where they have guys on year round.
Yeah.
And they've got 60-year-old guys that have lifeguarded since they were 18.
Yeah.
So like their knowledge that they're passing down to all these other generations, we don't get that here. And
no,
it's
we
like,
don't get that. Because I think like sometimes like, and I don't want to be critical of some of the lifeguards, but like I've had a situation. I had a situation in Jane Juck where
I've saved more people in the last 2 years than I've ever done in my life.
Yeah, really.
And I've been a surf lifesaver my whole life.
Yeah, I was down in Jane Juck one day, like beach full of people, people swimming, nice warm day. Like I can't tell you how many lifeguards there were on the beach. There were that many, and they were sort of playing around and like mostly like young kids.
Yeah.
And
so they're all the volunteers.
They're all the volunteers, but there was a guy drowning in front of everyone, and no one saw it, no one intervened, and
well, even the paid lifeguards are like 18-year-olds, and they don't.
Yeah, that's
like they sit and they look at the flags, and I'm like at Jan Jack, there's like the car park lookout that you can have one lifeguard up there. He can he or she can see the entire beach.
Yeah, because it's
the entire beach, and it's like, why is there not a lifeguard stationed up there all day? Yeah,
there should be.
But it's just that I don't know. They're like, oh, we watch the flags,
and you get some pretty crazy rips out of Jane Jack. Like it's pretty strong out there.
A
like,
lot of them,
I got caught.
You don't even need a rip. Like they just step off the sandbank, and then they don't know how to swim, or they freak out, and it's like And that's what I work on with my kids. I'm like, just when it goes bad, just relax.
Yeah. Just relax. You just go with it. Yeah. Swim diagonally or just relax.
Just relax. Just let it suck you out the back.
I must say, like,
out the back of the brain.
I once panicked at Jane Jack because it's cold. And when it's starting to get dark, like, that's the problem. Like, it's, just, it's not a good feeling when you're out in Jane Jack and it's getting dark and it's cold and it's because, people don't realize, like, water gets, like, what's the water temperature here at the moment? Like 12,
I think it's like 13 degrees or something.
Pretty cold.
So like probably 12 to 11 is as cold as occasionally you might get an upwelling and it's like 10 degrees and but you feel once you get to 13 degrees, you feel every degree that it drops. Like it's a big change. Like
I agree with you there.
So I don't think people kind of like, you kind of go 13 or 11 degrees. Like, what's the difference? It's like,
no, it's a big difference.
There's a big difference between that.
Yeah.
But so it's but yeah, I hope with this sort of like training surfers, because they do a lot of the rescues anyway, because they're always out there.
Yeah.
It will hopefully catch on and we'll.
Yeah. Oh, I hope so, man. Like I think it's great work. It's I mean, my whole roles, my day job's health and safety and doing risk assessment. So I think it's the best way of saving lives out there. So yeah, definitely. But hey man, I think that's already been like more than an hour and a half. So I
there we go.
I think man, we should do this again.
Yeah, for sure.
And I want to hear about your next adventure soon. And
I've got a few. I was hoping to do one at the end of this year or like the back half of this year. So hopefully we'll
keep it in a secret.
We may still be able to do it. So fingers crossed we do, and we'll be able to. But I definitely want to be. I'm going to be doing some with the kids and.
Yeah, let me know when you've thought of something, and we'll get you on again.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thanks, man. Thanks for coming
dramas.
on to the show.
Thank you. Episode 1.
Episode 1 done.
Let's see if we make it to episode 2.